Hi, it's Monica here from The Travel Hack, and today I am making this video all about what I pack in my hand luggage for a long haul flight. So as always, I'm travelling with the Travel Hack Pro cabin case. First of all, it's a little travel hack tip for you, is I have a canvas tote bag. Once I get onto the plane, I'll put this cabin case up above. And sometimes it's quite hard to keep getting to your suitcase, so if that happens, if you get sort of stuck on a window seat, which is always good, I do like a window seat, but sometimes it's awkward to get out, or if you're in the middle or something, you can't keep getting out to get to your suitcase, so you're going to want to put your stuff in a canvas tote bag. So things like your water bottle, maybe a book and a magazine, you know, the things that you're going to want to keep getting to all the time throughout the flight. Take a canvas bag with you, put everything in there, then when you get on the plane, whack that up in the overhead cabin compartment and you can still get to your stuff. You can put a little bag underneath the seat in front of you so you can always get to that stuff. Possibly a bit of a controversial one here, toothbrush and toothpaste. When I'm flying long haul, I always like to brush my teeth. I don't always brush my teeth when I'm on the plane, it'll usually be as soon as I get off the plane, but I just find, your mouth just feels disgusting. It feels gross after a long haul flight, especially if you just sat there for like 8-10 hours eating and drinking, which is what I usually do on a long haul flight. Just feel a bit gross, and I just feel that brushing my teeth just freshens me up instantly, makes me feel so much better, especially if someone's meeting you at the airport, maybe someone you're going to want to give a kiss to. You want your toothbrush and your toothpaste. So I've got a couple more liquids that I travel with. I travel with a lip balm and a little pot of moisturiser as well. So I keep these three together, and then when I get to airport security and they have the little plastic bags there that you have to put your stuff in, I've got all those together quite nice and neatly, and they'll just go into a little plastic bag. So I've got a little pocket up here where I keep all those liquids, so I'm ready. Next up now, of course, is going to be my passport. I always keep my passport in a case because I have this absolute terror that I am going to turn up at the airport and have the wrong passport, that I'm going to turn up and have like my 2-year-old son's passport and not be able to get anywhere. So I keep them all in their own little cases to make sure that I never end up with the wrong passport. Nightmare. So another thing I always have is a pair of socks, especially if I'm travelling in the summer, because I'm probably going to be wearing sandals or some shoes that I don't have socks on with. And then you take your shoes off and then your feet are freezing on board. So in the back of my suitcase here, I always have my laptop. So I always travel with my laptop, usually because, especially on a long haul flight, I usually end up getting quite a lot of work done. So it's a little bit boring, and it's not for everyone, but I do tend to use my time on flights to do work. And here, all my documents. Might be a little bit old-fashioned, but I always do like to print out my tickets and things like that. I also have all important documents in there, like my travel insurance, and as you guys know, I am an Admiral travel insurance ambassador because I feel like it's just so important that everyone has travel insurance, and it's just something that's so easy to forget as well. But I print out the documents for my travel insurance as well, just in case I need to access anything while I'm away and maybe I don't have my phone, or my phone's died, or I've lost my phone, or it's been stolen or whatever. You've still got all your insurance details, your flight details, all that kind of stuff all printed out nice and organised. So I always travel with a water bottle as well, usually the biggest water bottle I can find because I drink loads on long haul flights, and I often find as well that loads of airlines will give you like the teeniest, tiniest bottle of water while you're flying, and it's just not enough, so I'll just ask them to fill this up for me, and I'll fill it up before I get on the plane as well. Okay, moving on to the main compartment of my suitcase. I travel with a Kindle. This is my kid's Kindle, and I do keep it in the kids' bumper thing, just because it's easier to hold it that way. So on a Kindle I have a couple of apps on here. I obviously have the Kindle Books app, so I've got loads of books on there to read. I also have a magazine subscription app called Readly, which gives you access to like well over 3,000 different magazine titles, so you can download loads of magazines and have them all to read on your Kindle or whatever tablet you use, or on your phone. But I really like it on this little Kindle. The battery life's really good on this as well. And yes, I do steal my child's Kindle whenever I go away. Our kids, actually, we've told them that Kindles only work on planes, and they're still little, so they still believe that. So that's a really good little trick. So when they get on a plane and they have their Kindles, it's like the biggest treat ever, and they love it. And it also stops them being totally glued to them when they're at home, because they genuinely believe that Kindles don't work at home, they only work on aeroplanes. So I always have a pen in my hand luggage because, especially when you're flying long haul, you're going to be flying somewhere probably outside of Europe, and you might need to fill out like a landing form, and you have to do that on the plane, and it's just a bit of a pain if you don't have a pen, because then you have to wait till you get off the plane and you have to queue and everything. So onto the travel pillow. So my travel pillow of choice is called a J pillow. Now let me show you. I've had loads of different travel pillows in the past. I've tried them all. This one is currently my favourite. It is quite chunky. It does take up a lot of space in your bag, but it does come in a bag, so you could tie it to the outside of your bag if you wanted. But it's worth it. I do think it's worth it. So take a look. The kids call it my elephant pillow because it is a bit like an elephant. And it's just so comfortable. So you pop your ear here, and there, it's so snug. I always have some face wipes in here as well, just to freshen up on the plane. Take my makeup off quite often, so I don't wake up with panda eyes on the plane. So I've just got some nice cucumber wipes because they're really fresh. I've got my laptop charger there, so I just wrap that up nice and neatly. I just wrap it up in a hair bobble to stop it unravelling everywhere in my suitcase. Next up, I have my camera. Obviously you can't put a camera, you can't check it in. So yeah, I've got that in my case. I don't ever use it while I'm flying, it's too big, it's a bit chunky. But I have that in that bag. And I have an external charger. That's just a small one, but it's a really good one. That's just to keep my Kindle charged and my phone charged as well, because I do end up using my phone a lot while I'm on a plane. And my headphones, of course. Yeah, I have a nice pair of headphones for a flight. And the most important thing, especially if you have an iPhone, is this. So the little adapter that means you can use your headphones with your iPhone. I have flown on a long haul flight before. I got on the plane, it was like a 12-hour flight. I got on and I realised I'd forgotten it, so I couldn't listen to anything on my phone. Just so annoying. So yeah, make sure you have that. And the other thing I have is another thing that I can't check into my luggage because it's got battery, and yeah, I just don't want to end up losing it. It is a gimbal that I use for my iPhone. So this is like a stabiliser that means I can film things on my iPhone, and it just keeps everything really steady. So I have to put that in there. It's a bit of a chunk as well. It takes up a lot of space, but it's worth it. I really like travelling with this. And of course, I've always got my iPhone in there. So there's a couple of apps that I really like while I'm flying. One is Readly, the magazine subscription app I mentioned. I use Audible for audiobooks, so I listen to loads of audiobooks while I travel. The podcast app, of course, so I listen to loads of podcasts. And another one I really like is Skillshare. So that's one where there's like online lessons to learn. So I download a few of those, and there'll be lessons for things like photography and writing or anything to do with blogging. I really like Skillshare. For flights, I just feel like I'm being productive and I'm actually learning something on a flight, not just sitting there for 12 hours to watch a film, which is of course really nice, and I think when you're doing it every now and again it's really lovely, but when you're taking lots of long haul flights I feel like it's just such a waste of my time. So I really like to be productive on a flight and get loads done. And of course I nearly forgot, iPhone charger. I usually don't bother travelling with plugs anymore because I find most places have the USB port, so I'll maybe travel with one plug, and everything else I'll charge by USB or charge via my laptop. There's one thing that I almost forgot to tell you about. I also travel with this. So this is called the Leaf iBridge, and it just plugs into the bottom of your phone, like so. And it's basically just an external memory stick. So I always travel with this so I can back up the photos I'm taking on my iPhone. I don't know what size it is, 32 gig, so that'll hold quite a lot. But it's also just a really easy way to transfer loads and loads of files from your phone over to your laptop, because this part here is a USB. So that's just a handy little gadget there. Thanks for watching, and you can find more of my travel and packing tips over at thetravelhack.com.